In the summer of 1776, in a world ruled largely by kings and empires, a small group of colonies along the eastern edge of North America made a decision that would change history. They declared that people were not born to be ruled, but to be free. On July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence announced a bold and dangerous idea that all men are created equal and that governments exist only by the consent of the governed. In 2026, the United States marks 250 years since that moment, a milestone known as the Semiquincentennial, a quarter of a millennium since a fragile experiment in self-government began. At the time, the odds of success were far from certain. The 13 colonies were divided, poorly funded, and facing the most powerful empire on Earth. The Revolutionary War was not just a struggle between armies, but a struggle over ideas. George Washington led an army that was often cold, hungry, and outmatched, yet it endured. Victories at places like Trenton, Saratoga, and eventually Yorktown proved that determination and belief could challenge even the greatest powers. When the war ended in 1783, the new nation had been born, but its future was still unclear. The years that followed were filled with uncertainty and debate. The founders knew that winning independence was only the beginning. They needed to build a system of government strong enough to survive, but flexible enough to protect liberty. In 1787, delegates gathered in Philadelphia to write the Constitution, creating a framework that balanced power between states and the federal government and between different branches of authority. The Bill of Rights soon followed, promising freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and protection under the law. These were not perfect documents, but they were revolutionary in their time, and they would shape the nation for centuries. Yet, from the very beginning, America lived with a deep contradiction. The nation was founded on the idea of equality, but millions of people were enslaved, and women and Native Americans were denied basic rights. This tension would define much of American history. As the country expanded westward in the 19th century, it grew in size and power, but also in conflict. The Industrial Revolution transformed cities and economies, while new states joined the Union. At the same time, the question of slavery became impossible to ignore. If you have not subscribed yet, do that now. In 1861, that question tore the nation apart. The Civil War was the deadliest conflict in American history, a war not only for the survival of the Union, but for the meaning of freedom itself. When it ended in 1865, slavery was abolished, and the United States took a decisive step toward fulfilling its founding promise. But peace did not bring equality overnight. The long struggle for civil rights would continue for generations. As the 20th century began, the United States emerged as a global power. It fought in 2 world wars, helped shape the modern international order, and experienced rapid technological and economic change. The Great Depression tested the nation's resilience, while World War II transformed its role in the world. After the war, America stood at the center of a tense Cold War, defined by rivalry, fear, and the threat of nuclear destruction. Yet this era also saw extraordinary achievements, from the Civil Rights Movement to the first steps on the moon. The Civil Rights Movement of the 1950s and 1960s reminded the world that the American story is not only written by presidents and generals, but by ordinary people who demand justice. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and many others forced the nation to confront its own ideals and to move closer, though never perfectly, to the promise of equal rights for all. Laws changed, barriers fell, and new voices began to shape the country's future. I guess you have not subscribed. Do that now. In the decades that followed, the United States continued to evolve. It witnessed the rise of the digital age, the end of the Cold War, and moments of both triumph and tragedy. The attacks of September 11, 2001 reshaped its sense of security and its role in global affairs. Advances in science, communication, and medicine transformed daily life in ways the founders could never have imagined. Through all of this, the American experiment continued,
sometimes thriving, sometimes struggling, but always moving forward. Now, 250 years after the Declaration of Independence, the United States stands at a rare moment of reflection. A quarter of a millennium is not just a celebration of age, but a chance to measure a journey. From a collection of fragile colonies to a vast and diverse nation, the American story has been one of constant change, driven by debate, by protest, by hope, and by the belief that the future can be better than the past. The Semiquincentennial is not only about honoring the founders, but about recognizing the countless generations who built, defended, challenged, and reshaped the nation. It is about soldiers who fought, workers who labored, immigrants who arrived with little more than dreams, and citizens who refused to accept injustice. It is about a country that has never been finished, always becoming. As America enters its next chapter, the same questions remain as urgent as they were in 1776. What does freedom truly mean? Who does it include? And how can a nation built on ideals continue to live up to them? The answers are still being written, not in distant halls alone, but in everyday lives across the country. 250 years ago, a bold declaration announced a new idea to the world. Today, that idea lives, not as a guarantee, but as a promise that each generation must choose to protect, to challenge, and to renew. And as America marks 250 years, it does not simply look back at what it has been, but forward to what it still hopes to become. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell.